order. Are there any additions to the agenda? I see none. May I have confirmation of the agenda, please? Moved by Merv, all in favor. Is there any pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? I see none. I will ask for an approval of the minutes of our previous meeting, please. Moved by Brent. Were there any errors or omissions? I see none. All in favor. Wonderful. We have no delegations this afternoon. Daryl Verge will not be joining us today. If anybody had any questions, you can direct them to Annette.
Straightforward.
I see none. So we will move on. Is Jason in the building? Was that who you just waved at?
Yeah, he just came in. There's Jerry today, so it's efficiency.
I feel like there was some sarcasm there.
Nope.
Hi, Jason. So, anything you want to touch on today?
Snow removal going good?
It's going all right, yes. It is. It's been busy because we still have to go on those little storms.
Funny you say that, Jason. When we get to the end of your report, we're going to talk about my meeting with the MTO.
Okay.
It's in my mayor's report or my Roma report, but I want to talk to you about it.
Okay.
Okay.
So Dana participated in a Zoom meeting with Circular Materials. It's providing information for transition 2025 and 2026. So we'll see how that goes. The share reuse repair hub in the session, municipalities, Dana participated in that Zoom session also, where it is looking to see where businesses and residents can, instead of throwing stuff away, either, give it to someone or try and get it fixed to keep it or whatever, right? It's just gonna save our landfills
And help our residents.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there is a site there, so anybody can check it out. I did participate in the transportation master plan with the county and Aegis. The plan was looking at trying to figure out roadways where things could be downloaded, uploaded.
Before anybody jumps off any bridges, no pun intended, well, pun intended. This is an ongoing thing at the county. I think that there was a misunderstanding that there was just going to be a whole bunch of downloads, and that is not the case. So it is ongoing with Aegis.
Yes,
Is that correct? Yes. So I will have more to follow with you.
actually, they've done an update.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Since last Wednesday.
I think it was on last Wednesday.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
so that would have been while we were in county council.
exactly.
All right.
Yeah, there's been some more points was what they passed each road with. There was a criteria of different areas that they looked at, and each criteria got a point or so many points per, and you had to be over the threshold to stay as a county road or possibly be bumped down.
But the criterion is extremely confusing.
It is.
Have you seen it?
Yes.
Okay, so we did get a copy of it, and I have yet to wade myself through it before our next county council meeting, but there's a lot to it.
Yes.
The point system especially, because in some cases, the criterion for one is not the same as another. So I was going to make myself almost an Excel spreadsheet to try and figure out, but I'm not sure that it's a bad idea as far as winter maintenance, etc. However, being one of the municipalities who has one of the longest roadways, we're well over 500, the county's at 800. I think that we should crawl before we walk on this.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
with the new criteria, we're gonna be in really good shape. So the roads that they were gonna shove down have now been bumped up, so we're out of the.
Yeah.
Worry.
I didn't want to announce that yet.
So Sandro Way site will be closed on Monday, February 17th. For Family Day. So the 2024 vehicle counts. I'm sure you've all had a good look at these and they're. The numbers are quite high, I think.
They are.
But anyway, everything seems to be going well. And we'll see how things go with our transition for recycling. Future.
Did anybody have anything for Jason? Go ahead, John.
So Jason, I read Dana's report of going to the recycling hub meeting, attending that online. And I realize now why it's taking us so long to do such a simple job. Is the plan they've got set out on the slideshow she sent us is huge, and it's for big municipalities, and that kind of slows us down from meeting the approvals and getting going. I hope it's coming.
It is. We're still waiting for approvals from the ministry on that. So
Once that's approved, you're going to see your vehicle numbers go up more.
possibly, yes. Possibly.
It'll be a mini mall. Anything to do with the C of A it takes a long time, so we have to be patient, but I think that it's a good start.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, go ahead, Murph.
I don't want to rain on your parade, but I wish you all the best of luck with the shares we used to repair. We tried it once. And what the end, a lot of people were leaving, but nobody was taking anything. And that's the problem. Like we had that little building at Ruby Road.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was getting full up and there was things, like for instance, there was a set of dishes there and we had a university student. I said, you want a set of dishes? Yeah, I said, here you go, please take. They leave and nobody's taking. That's what happened.
I think that there will need to be education,
Yes.
maybe even, I don't want to put more work on your staff, but maybe even a list at the door, there's a desk and a chair for exactly that purpose. Again, I don't want to make this onerous. It's got to be an easy thing to have at our waste sites, but I'm sure that there's some way that we can make sure that people understand, no, this is yours for the taking. If you need a coffee table, there's one in the building.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if other municipalities can successfully do it, then there's no reason we can't. And especially when it comes to Exchange Depot, the whole point is just to divert it from the waste site
Yes.
anyways. So if you get, say, X amount of truckload or a dump truck full of items diverted a year, that at least is some saving grace.
But I think also we're in a different time. The need for certain things is greater. And I know that there's been a lot, I know that when we sort of did our enormous spring cleaning, we couldn't believe how many people were at the waste site and the clothing bank that were doing the exact same thing. So, right, it seems to be cyclical. So if there's nothing else, so I did meet with Parliamentary Assistant Rick Brise. I've known Rick for years and years and years. He was a mayor, he was a warden. He is the PA for the Ministry of Transportation to talk about the exemption from CVOR for your plow truck operators. I was actually thankful that he brought his assistant deputy minister because they are the bureaucrats. And there was no point in Rick taking it to Minister Sakaria and then going to the ADM, who then says no. So obviously we talked about fatigue syndrome. We talked about safety of our plow operators, safety of our road users. I did indicate exactly what you just said, Jason. It seems that it used to be we'd get a big dumping of snow. Your guys would go out, they'd clean up all the snow, they take their break, and then they move the snow where it needed to be moved. It seems that last year and this year even more, we are getting those snow events that are just over our minimum maintenance standards, where your plow operators have to go out on a far more frequent basis to the same amount of roads. So they suggested that I come back to you and ask, I know that there are other municipalities that have found a workaround for the hours. When I was presenting at county council about the Roma conference, I brought this up, and Lee Perkins said that unfortunately, you had your road supers meeting in November, and your next one won't be till next November.
Right.
Not ideal when we want this done. So he did indicate, and I've got it here, that the MTO and the Ministry of Labor have different regulations regarding your hours of work, which I didn't know. And so Lee is suggesting that you arrange a meeting between Mr. Martin, Mr. Rakowski, yourself, and maybe a couple of other road supers. He gave me the information, a work week cannot exceed 70 hours in 7 days by MTO standards. However, the MOL standards should be reviewed as well. And the 8 hours off duty is required in a 24-hour period by MTO, but 10 hours by MOL.
Mhm.
Were you aware of this?
Yes.
Like, get it together, people. So the ministries have different standards without even including us in this discussion. So if you can arrange a meeting, I would love to be a champion of this and be able to take it back to PA Brise. I can, in fact, I'm sure that if we wanted to schedule even a Zoom meeting, I could make sure that Rick was involved in that. This is one of those things that I committed to advocate for. And I mean, let's at least get the MLOL and the MTO on the same page. This is sort of the same as, when the Ministry of Labor and the fire marshal's office don't agree on, apparatus. So I think that we need to get them on the same page, and what would work for our road supers with their plow operators. I want to emphasize, I told the ADM and Rick this, I understand fatigue, and I don't want to be overworking our employees. But if they're at a point where they could go home for a few hours and come back to the job, what does that look like? So I'm gonna leave that with you. But anything that I can do with Annette to help, I'm sure our entire council is behind this. When we said that we were asking for this delegation, everybody agreed. So let's see what we can do to make this more palatable for everybody. I jokingly said, I don't want to have to declare an emergency every time we have a snowfall, because that's the only time in which our plow operators can work outside of CVOR. It's a shame that even a significant weather event, although that does allow our minimum maintenance standards to sort of be flexible, thank you, flexible. It does not allow for our plow operators to work outside of CVOR rules. Again, I don't think there is a council anywhere that wants to declare an emergency every time we get 3 centimeters of snow. I also don't think it's very fair to our employees. So let's get together on this. You were at this meeting with Darren Martin and Marty Rakowski? Perfect, okay.
Oh, you summarized it good. There's nothing to add.
Gee, thanks, Brent. Thank you, Jason.
All right, thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
If you see Daryl, can you send him in?
Pardon?
Yeah, 2R, not 1R. It was a really good delegation, by the way, guys. Like a really, really, really good delegation.
I got 3 components to it, so.
Yeah.
A lot of.
But having the ADM there, I didn't realize until I was leaving that Rick brought her specifically for that delegation, because this is a bureaucratic decision. So, hi, Daryl.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Jump right in.
You jump right in, sir.
So we started off the year with 3 calls in January. And we've already up to 2 in February. But just can't control it.
Daryl, it's only February 4th, for goodness sakes.
Last night was a chimney fire, but what happens with the cold weather, everybody's firing hard and then the warmer, everything dapper down.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah. So,
But you do education on that every fall, correct?
yeah.
Get your chimney cleaned.
Well, everybody tells us, oh, we just got it cleaned and then we use the light in the mirror and it's just like a hole like that. And so,
Oh.
we educate over there as well.
Well, it's a weird winter too, because you have a lot more animals getting more rambunctious, like getting out there now too, so. They like to get in chimneys all the time as well.
No, this wasn't an animal. but
Mm,
You get a couple of good barn swallows, they'll just clean out the creosote on their own.
Typically, the chimneys, if they burn, they will take it itself, but.
mhm.
Yeah,
There
but
was-
not if it's caked.
No, not if it's cake.
But the home was okay?
Oh, yeah, everything was
Okay,
fine.
good.
We just made sure we checked for extension and everything was good, so.
Nice.
You'll be proud to know we just replaced both of our fire extinguishers in our home and our garage.
Good,
Yep, it was time.
perfect.
That's a little PSA for people.
Perfect, yes.
Yeah.
So as always, I have here, we received 2 applications for new recruit, or I just received another one. So
Good.
we're up to 3. So we're hoping maybe we're gonna do a recruit drive. Training in March maybe, or April, depending on, so,
Sooner the better.
yeah.
But you like to have 5 in a class,
I would like
right?
to have
I
5, so
know.
we're close, I mean, but we can.
But if you've got 3, you've got 3.
That's right, that's
Yeah.
right. I don't wanna make them wait too long. So they may just get a little tired of waiting and move on.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Is it an area where you could cooperate with neighbors who also have 1 or 2 members, or is it not like that easily?
We do work together at, we have mutual aid and we do, we're always working together. It's hard to share, we could share firefighters, it's been done before. There has-
Sorry, I'm in training, because they go through the same accreditation process.
Well, we're doing that right now.
Okay.
We hold a mandatory certification here. I opened it up and we have NEW sent 3 and then BLR sent a few. and
Perfect.
Horton sent 1 and the last weekend's coming up and the testing's in March. So.
Awesome.
So, we were changing the lights in the hall, because the lights in there were probably from the day this place was built, which is. And they're pretty dull, so now we have.
Before Brent was born.
Yes. And we have newer LED lights and they're much brighter, and we were fortunate enough to have them donated to us,
It's very nice.
yeah. And again, due to the success of our junior firefighter program, we are looking at a second night, and because we are limited. Oh, I see it. Because we are limited for bunker gear, spare sets, so our neighbors have been helping us out.
Very nice.
So I've been washing them, and once the kids get here, they'll be jumping into used but clean gear, so. We're also looking, there's a shipping container sitting up in a Flymount Hall that's doing absolutely nothing. And we have some debris, some training aids that we can get out of the hole. So we're looking to slip it over in the corner by the propane tank. It's gonna be back far enough, it won't impede if they ever have to change it out. And if need be, if we want, we'll put a buffer around it. It's clean, there's no graffiti on
It might be nice actually to paint it,
it, yeah.
to sort of denote that it's, fire. Maybe put your emblem on it.
Yeah, we could do something like that.
But I think now without the paramedics in the parking lot, we certainly have the room for it.
Correct.
So
Yes.
why not?
If the paramedics were still here, this wouldn't even be an option.
Oh, no,
No.
no.
So like I said, it'll be tucked over in the corner and we're just, we have a forcible entry door that we practice on and it weighs about 400 and 500 pounds and it's just very difficult to move around and it's kind of.
That's
stuck
great.
A little bit out there.
What was the sea can as original, like, what was it used for up in Florida prior?
They have a couple other bigger ones up there. They're using it for storage and they use it for training.
Mhm.
They'll go in, they don't use it for live fire training, but they will go in there. They'll simulate they
Like
might
smoke, like
out.
smoke it out
Yeah,
and stuff,
yeah.
oh, okay. And then
They
intention,
lock bad firefighters in it and see if they can get out.
so the intention here is just utilize it as excess storage then?
Excess storage, yeah. We have a lot of training aids sitting up above the vault in the police office
Mhm.
that it's very difficult to get to because of the propane heater. it's very low and you gotta watch your head and we can get everything off of there. And just clean up to make the hall a lot more cleaner, tidy, more tidy looking.
Well, I also noticed the kitchen's looking a little less fire department as well.
Yes,
Good on you guys.
the table and chairs are upstairs. We're just working on how do I want to set it up, like a boardroom or a coffee room. Right now I have it set up as a boardroom, so we'll see. So when the trainers come back for this weekend, we're gonna put them upstairs. They won't be in council.
Look at us all fancy like. Go ahead, John.
Maybe would it be inappropriate to talk when we're talking to Laurel about the door project? Maybe she'd like to paint a little something on the when it's all set up and solid, we could get a nice fire department themed mural put on it.
Sure, I'm up for that.
I'll work on that.
I know that one of the firefighters' wives has said she will do our emblem on the wall upstairs at the training room, so.
The C-CAN has
it's
yeah,
corrugated.
little more difficult, but an interesting idea.
Yeah, well, if you look at it, you could look at it from different angles and the picture might show up, you know.
But fire themed in
Yes,
any
that's
case.
right.
Yes, that would be lovely. Great idea.
So, any questions on fire? No? So moving on to building, there was no permits issued last month. I did issue one this month because they're starting to get more phone calls. So before the rush comes in, like end of March, 1st of April, I'll get the ones I have out the door.
Well, your real estate starts getting listed and anyways coming up to spring, so makes sense for your building permits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it'll come. We don't know what type of year to expect. Nobody knows. Maybe now our neighbors to the south have kind of backed off a little bit. Might help.
For 30 days.
30 days. But we'll see.
I did appreciate, even if it's a toothpick, buy Canadian.
Yes.
I do appreciate that. So, anything further for Daryl? Great, have a great day, Daryl. All right, we're gonna move into correspondence. Correspondence A, AMO pre-budget submission. AMO policy, January 19th. Dr. Morgenstern's report.
It was nice to see that the opioids has gone down a lot over the years, which is really nice to see there's the results.
And I will tell you, the majority of our Board of Health meeting was Jason's report, as you can see, because it's so comprehensive. But with him and Mesa and my announcement, we're getting a heart hub, and Jason was instrumental. Like, it's been, we are on the map. Well, I don't know anymore. I said to Annette when I came in, all of my information is stale dated now, because I don't know who any of the ministers will be. I don't know who the premiers, it's, anyway. I can only go on what was at Roma. But when I was in a multi-ministerial with Minister Jones, and I said, oh, I'm the mayor of Bonnechere Valley in the county of Renfrew, and she goes, I'm coming to see you next Monday. She had to do it by Zoom, but so she whispered to me afterwards, you're getting a heart hub. So I had to keep that quiet, but I was pretty darn excited. Yeah.
Good.
All right, County of Renfrew, yes.
Correspondence B, Sunshine Coach, we usually supported that.
Oh, hang on, we're not there yet. So, I wanted to, Safer Municipalities Act is anything to do with the province right now. I don't think that we've got much legs. Legion Service Recognition Book. Do we do that every year, Sandra?
Yeah.
I thought this one was separate than what we previously did, because we had the flowers, like the wreaths and everything you've done. But I thought
No,
this
I
was a
think
diff-
you're
I thought-
looking, I think you were looking at the filmmaker directory. I'm talking about the Legion one.
No, for the Legion, I thought this was different, this one.
We have been doing it,
Okay,
Okay,
since I got here, but it's up to you whether you want to continue to do it.
No,
That's why I put it on there.
no, I'm
No, I
fine,
think we
I'm fine
should.
with carrying it forward. I just didn't know if this was a new one.
No, this
Okay.
one we have been.
I think you've been doing it for about 5 years.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The book goes around, like, it's not our Legions.
No. Go ahead, John.
So question, I'm in favor of supporting it and donating or purchasing, advertising in it. But is this one of the areas where our possibly our new idea where we're gonna create a pool of money? to
No,
use
we
for that?
budgeted, it's in our advertising budget, yeah.
Right.
Oh, don't worry, because the next item is the library events and the request to waive the fees. So now that we have a fund to waive the fees, I'm going to assume that there's no debate. Okay,
That's exactly why we're here.
there you go. All right, the
6
the
events.
veterinary services was sort of for info, sovereignty of
There
Canada.
there is a payment for that as well.
Yeah.
But we can't, like, it's not something we could get out of this year, but
It's $280,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
I guess that's more just standard across the board for the bees. They provide us all the
Yeah.
numbers for
Yes.
like livestock and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
for the nominal amount, it actually makes sense to know your numbers.
Yeah.
So,
All right, the Sunshine Coach, yes, we do. We always support it. There is some provincial gas tax.
mhm.
And, okay, Brent, correspondence C. So the County of Renfrew Road Rationalization Assessment, Jason just spoke to that and so did I. And, the Tapmo letter,
There's been no updates since, so I
Yeah.
would say we would just
yeah,
don't need to discuss
Well-
anymore for the aggregates.
and everything's tough right now.
It's gonna be, it's gonna be
Okay.
in limbo until really
Until it's
March,
not.
until March rolls around.
Exactly, well, it'll be later than
And
that.
unfortunately, I do not have anything to add to correspondence C, to include, so,
Thank you, Brent.
but Sunshine Coach is standard, so.
All right, then we can go on, you had your initiatives.
Yeah, can we take a break and then I go into it?
We sure can.
Perfect.
Needs time to set
just to actually walk everyone through it. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot in this that I should probably take you in the closed for.
That's fine, we can go through it and then.
We're back live, sorry, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I didn't say it, but I think I said it too quietly.
Maybe you just said it in your head.
That's possible too.
All right, go ahead, Brent.
Perfect. So as requested by the mayor, I'm pleased to share my ideas and vision for Montreal Valley for year 2025 going into 2026. I've broken down my submission to 5 categories: administration, roads, recreation, fire department, and water and sewer department. With 2 years left in our mandate, I feel council has been more or less coasting along, doing what we have to do to maintain the municipality, but not much more. So I'd like to suggest several initiatives that would benefit the whole municipality without increasing spending during these economic times. So I'll begin with administration. I believe with the prioritizing of the selling off of municipally owned lands that serve no use to the municipality. There are over 50 pieces of surplus property owned by the township. And while it's not feasible to sell all the properties, because some of the parcels have no value, I believe we should prioritize the inventory, have them appraised, and look at selling them. I believe that we need to develop a list of all services provided by the municipality, categorize those services that are mandated by the provincial legislation, and then conduct a review of all services presently offered. So this would just be a service review by council. I request staff to provide their ideas on how to reduce expenditures to day-to-day operations without compromising services and submit them directly to the CEO. Suggestions can be anonymous or with a name on it. I believe we need to continue to advocate, like you guys did at Roma, for the province to exempt small rural municipalities from the new inspection program. Conducting such inspections on new vehicles annually and add costs to the township's transportation budget, the municipalities they'll afford. Together with the CEO and department heads, I believe that we need to develop a 5 to 10 year plan of known expenditures and include the cost estimates. Also develop the real budget we need to maintain our asset management plan. In our budget 2025, I believe that we need to prioritize events being undertaken by the municipality and remove events the township will not be involved in. So this would be seeking out volunteers to host events, and if needed, develop partnerships with groups to co-host events. I believe we need to continue to review and update the business directory and BV and post on our website, as well as provide brochures that would be available at our office. I believe we should do an annual sit down with business owners. The intention is to meet annually with the business community, share ideas, information, hear concerns, and work in the spirit of cooperation to strengthen our commercial sector. I believe we need to establish an annual ratepayers meeting. So this would be hosted, we would host one public meeting annually where residents can share ideas, concerns for the betterment of the municipality. By working together, good things can be accomplished. I believe we need to create an inventory of lot severances and vacant properties for people to inquire about land availability. So when people make inquiries at the municipal office, this information is readily available. Obviously, I believe we should encourage Renfrew County to expedite the land severance applications. The current process is long and unwieldy. I believe we should redesign the township newsletter to make it more appealing to the reader and circulate it 3 to 4 times a year. I believe we should meet with the representatives of Fairfield to review the affordable housing bylaw. Under the terms of the agreement, Fairfield is taxed at 50% of the municipal and county levy. Paying 100% of the tax in the future will have a serious financial implication for a nonprofit organization that relies on just solely residents' income. I believe we need to provide council with monthly reports that would talk about the complaints that residents provide. So then we're privy to those as well.
Do you really want that?
I do in the sense that it gives you, I guess you would say, you can understand what our township is like going through, be it you have consistent complaints or not, and that's the only reason.
Okay, I will endeavor then, as I receive complaints, to send out an email to council. Because I would say, I'm not sure from an administration perspective, but from my perspective, I think most of the complaints start with me. And then I send them on to department heads, but I can certainly
No, on what these.
provide you with the.
And the intention on this, Jen, is for when staff receives, for example, complaints directly, or council receives, that we can compile lists so we can see if something's consistent.
Yeah, no,
And
that's
that's
fine.
the biggest thing. So even if it's a 1 year project or a 2 year, it just to see what is actually, so to make sure nothing gets dropped or missed. And that's the whole intention of it.
Okay, and I can talk to you about the expediting land severances.
Yep.
We had to cut our budget, which is happening on Thursday
Mhm.
substantially, so I will tell you that's not gonna happen anytime soon. We just cannot increase our service levels at this time.
Mhm.
When the disastrous news came down over the weekend, county staff and myself and the warden sort of leapt into action to come up with a budget that's going to be a little more palatable for county councilors to digest on Thursday. I will tell you that it's not going to be a good budget, nor is the one at this table.
Yeah, so
I'll leave it at that.
when you're looking at to like, and that's one point of, say, the administration is from like severances, for example. But one of them is just looking at, so if you go on your JS system for Von Valley, we have a lot of property. So at what point have us as the township, say, reached out to any of the lot owners to see what their actual intention is with their property they're using? It's no different than when Mesa did the review of their studies of underutilized properties. No different. Doesn't mean the township's gonna acquire, take it over, but it's at least we have an inventory of properties that you know the intention, so then you can get individuals that want to move to our area in touch with them. And that's why they can go together. So if you're saying there's not money in this for severances at the county
No,
level.
there aren't money for more planners,
No, exactly, but
and we're already short a planner.
when you're looking at it, it's just like, okay, so then you can look at developing a list of the vacant properties or properties that are very severance in municipality have been like that, and we don't know the intentions.
Okay, I don't want to be on that list, and I have 2 severed properties, so I'm like, that's just not something I'm.
Yeah,
I guess I don't know whether you're aware of it or not, but what you're referring to is the old Ruby Station property. There's 4 acres there, it's still ours. And
well, so when you're talking about,
Like,
so like,
it's
sir,
gonna be
like
selling or
when you're
developed or
talking about surplus properties, we've also inherited a significant amount of properties through, say, tax arrears over the years, and it's just a matter of time of just cleaning house of some of those.
Yeah.
And some of them could be swamp property that right now we own it, so then we are making residual taxation from it. So seeing if it makes sense to auction it off or not. It's more just kind of going through what our inventory is, looking at the items and seeing what we want to do with those.
For our surplus lands,
Yes,
by all means, that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
it's just prioritizing that. So if there's nothing else, I'll move on to some of my roads items. So obviously, I believe we need to continue the completion of the John Street Public Works Building. I think it looks great. When we're looking at tendering out additional road projects, when issuing for a tender for the contract, and the events that bids come in lower than expected, if it's feasible, draw from reserves to carry out a second project if it makes economic sense. I think that's just a practical response. I would look at prioritizing cutting a wild parsnip on rural roads, and also look at seeking signed agreements from the property owners while trimming these roadside ditches. So we can try to eliminate all the way to the fence line. Look at tendering out Sand Road or Spring Creek Road when the county calls for tenders for Foy Mountain Road
Which is
rehabilitation.
right now,
Exactly.
like, I mean, right now.
Just because we have shown a commitment previously for Spring Creek Road, so when we have the equipment there, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
So this was on the list that you had sent me,
Yeah.
and in my report, I've got what the county's doing
Mhm.
in Bonnechere Valley. And this fits right in.
Yeah, that's perfect. And then obviously, just prioritize area where additional calcium can be required on rural roads just to hold in the base. Obviously, we need to continue to conduct brushing and tree trimming along both sides of the river in Eganville, from the walking bridge in Centennial Park to the lower bridge at McCray Park. This will improve the aesthetics of the area and help to ensure that Eganville is truly the jewel of Bonashare. Moving forward, I believe that we need to trim trees, eliminate Manitoba maples, and clean the hillside across from the Conway's Pharmacy. I believe that we need to increase the tracking of traffic that comes through the village to provide accurate numbers of traffic volumes to potential new and existing businesses. I believe we need to identify and prioritize streets that need rehabilitation from Bonnet Street when Bonashare Street goes out to contract, no different than our discussions to do Mill Street or Maple Street or Wellington. I believe we need to investigate the extending the sidewalk along Highway 60 West when the highway potentially gets rehabilitated, no different than our commitment to the residents on Bonashare Street to review. I believe we need to review boat launches and signage and carry out digital mapping for the Lake River access points. Encourage anglers to post catches on angler groups to promote tourism in our township. In partnership with the Lake Clear property owners, I believe we should sponsor a Clean the Lake event with the township providing equipment to haul debris to the Snowdrifter site. I believe we need to continue, like we discussed earlier, about the implementation of the Exchange Depot. But most importantly with Exchange Depot is once it is complete, because hopefully it gets complete, is to actually review the entire process. And for the sake of other municipalities, to see how we could simplify it, is just to try to divert garbage or any from it. It just seems a very bureaucratic, complicated system is the best way to put it. Lastly, for the roads, is just to continue the cutting of Manitoba maples, weeds that are growing in our municipality. So this is just common sense asset management. And that's everything I had for the roads department.
So a lot of this is being done. Again, when I was doing my 2024 wrap up, one of the challenges we have right now is that we do have roads and sidewalks that are being ripped up by Enbridge and by the contractor for Bell Fiber. And so we want to make sure that we don't rip up a road and rehabilitate it and then have a contractor rip up a road. So we've got to be very cognizant of where these projects are. And I've spoken ad nauseum about this, but with the Connecting Link contract, my hope is that we can make those that they can all be done at once, as opposed to, I know, like we've already had sidewalks ripped up and now they've got to be ripped up again, so. Go ahead, John.
The Enbridge project is ongoing. Is there also a fiber optic cable project ongoing?
Yes,
Okay.
so Bell has been working for many months and Enbridge began in September, I believe. But we do have to be cognizant. It's not as bad, I don't think, where there are sidewalks, where they are able to feature cables under the sidewalks as they did near the clothing bank. However, roads like, I'll use Mill as my prime example, that road will have to be ripped up. And so let's make sure that we don't rehabilitate it before Bell and Enbridge get to it. So my hope is that they will join forces and it will be at the same time. Because other projects haven't been going like that. I did speak to, I'll deal with that later, but I did speak to Enbridge about, working together as a team.
Yeah, and a lot of the focus on this is just my priorities and what I'm looking at. So when we're looking at moving on to the recreation, obviously is to investigate the possibility of grants for planting fruit trees at Foymount Park and Legion Field. And I did supply the township just with the eco centers application, just to try to streamline if that's something that we're looking at doing as well. And then also just kind of looking at like a 5-year study in the sense that I think that we should add Christmas lighting at the dam along the walking bridge in Centennial Park and leave these lights and the lights on the main bridge on year round. So then people in the area will just be able to remember Eganville for its lighting. In addition, we can investigate erecting a large, say, cross, maple leaf, or any, or a symbol of significance that people remember Eganville for. Next, I would look do cleaning up and planting trees along Water Street. Just try to, we have the river, so we might as well use the natural asset we have, and I spoke to John about that previously as well. I believe that we need increased lighting at Centennial Park and restain the community building at Legion Field. And I think that this could get done through the summer student program and just setting our priorities. Something simple as painting all our garbage cans in municipality the same color for consistency. Installing landscape cloth at Foymount sign to prevent weed growth.
I thought we agreed you were gonna go and do that.
If it has to happen, then that's fine. I believe that we need to continue to tender for the grounds at Opeongo, Foymount, Cormac Parks to make sure everything's in check. Redo the ball diamonds in collaboration with the roads department at Legion Field. Seek sponsorship for the flower boxes on bridge. Review the cost of hanging banners on the bridge. Consider a fee, investigate a simple pulley system for raising the banners. Pressure wash the retaining wall at the museum, repair the bottom 5 feet of the deteriorating cement wall. And the whole point of this is to do preventative damage because you continue to have salt until, I know I spoke with Merv after the last meeting as well. And it's on the asset management side, when you have salt in Canada deteriorating cement, you would just look at putting on either a type N epoxy or what I believe would be the best interest would be seeing what having 3 contractors go to it and seeing what they would recommend for preventative care until we receive the funding for that museum wall. And by preventative care, meaning from winter maintenance to salt, we're going to keep deteriorating the material out. And that's the whole perspective on it, because it's going to cost $500,000 to $1 million to redo that museum wall. So it's just prevention is all we're trying to do. I believe investigating the lowering the apparatus for banners, utility poles, you can drive to other municipalities, and I've talked about this plenty of times, go from Adam Austin to Quadville, just trying to make it simpler for employees. And then obviously prioritize the Canada Day, flag signage, just make it a bigger event that suits the needs of our community. So this could be as simple as until we get funding for, say, signage for our banners for the winter, spring, just put on additional Canada flags to supplement them because they are getting faded.
They look horrible.
Exactly. So the thing is, they don't have to be. We have the choice to either install them or not. So I'm saying if we're going to get anything, and we might as well put in some more Canada flags until we receive more grant funding.
Well, I know the Bonashire Cup for the 50th will also be looking for some flags and signage. So something to keep in mind for next year.
Oh, and that's in the earlier we receive something for that event to keep it focused, and that makes total sense.
That was my mantra on Sunday. James Bros and I both said, we need to know what you guys want, but we need to know like now as your organizing committee for your 50th is in full swing.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
And that is the end of my recreation report. Any questions?
I was sure that you said you were gonna do the landscape cloth at Foymount, so I'm not sure why this is even on the list.
So moving on to the fire department, when I was kind of reviewing it, I kind of thought that maybe we should start kind of thinking outside the box for the council approach. So one of the things was just investigating the long-term sharing of equipment between municipalities, because really, when you look at the amount of the cost of a new fire truck is, why does every municipality have to buy a brand new fire truck?
We don't.
But at some point we will. So that's what I'm saying is when I think we have to open the box and really think about it. Also investigate long-term for succession planning, the potential for sharing a fire chief position with NAW or Douglas.
Absolutely.
And I do think that we need to consider reestablishing an agreement with Douglas Fire Department for the south end of the township for Hindford, Balaclava, and Dacre area. I want to see what the cost would be, and just seeing what bringing that alternative to council for the budget this year. Also, I'd like to review the sites for just drawing water. So we had spoken about it previously, but just drawing water from both sides of actually Eganville. But most importantly, in some of our rural areas, we had previously talked about one on towards Constant Lake, and then we had on both ends of the Eganville. So it's just actually, what do those locations look like? And then what can we do to make our life easier? Any questions? Perfect. And then lastly, moving on to the water department, I would recommend just creating a committee of BV, NAW, and private citizens to investigate funding to extend the water and sewer to extend services westward to NAW Township, encourage commercial growth in the area. I would look at returning Eganville Generation Corp to a public board with one council representative and a minimum of 2 private citizens again. And then continue to investigate the feasibility of developing or purchasing a second generation station. And then lastly, it's just the overall picture of creating a 10-year plan for the water and sewer dead ends and where you can expand and where you can actually link them together. So that is my overall summarization of the initiatives that I think that we could try to accomplish, be it in 2025 or 2026, or at least it sets goalposts on parameters. So I think of things that we can target and aim for.
Well, thank you for taking my mandate so seriously.
And just talking about investigating the second generating station, we've hit that a couple of times in Ontario Hydro. We don't have the
We don't have
capacity.
the transmission. We've looked at this many, many, many times. We
Yeah.
do not have the transmission.
Well, and that's why I said there's, and we can discuss this in EGC as well. So you can look at a second generation, but you can also look at either acquiring other land, because there is other facilities that are looking to expand. So the thing is we just want to make sure that we're always staying on top of it. And that should always be the parameters, in my opinion, say of say EGC, or even as a shareholder, the intention is to, yes, I would say, is make the most money for the ratepayers. So then that should always be our acquiring mission. So if there is ever transmission that's available, or you're saying you can't, then the thing is you want to make sure that we're the first ones in the gate. And that's the whole intention.
And we've put in how many applications?
But
2 or 3 at least.
Expanding into NAW, didn't we give them a letter a while ago?
We have a memorandum of understanding, an agreement with NAW, that any transmission of water or wastewater would be on their time.
Mhm.
Since we do have a lot of, expansion and building going on, we would probably be looking at extra capacity in our water and or wastewater. I doubt they'd ever do wastewater, but that would also require extra capacity, which again, they would have to fund for their residents. As it stands right now, years ago when we signed the MOU, we had so much capacity that it probably was a worthwhile thing to look into. Now it's not the case.
Bottom line, we don't want to get into a Pembroke situation.
No, we do not.
No, the biggest thing for that is just seeing what the potential is to actually say go up your Bonnet share end of your Highway 60.
They said
And-
no, that they'd go up Let Cemetery and across Snow Drifters.
Yeah, they might have, but that's why I'm saying if you actually strike the committee and actually look, because that's where the common sense commercial growth actually would be, because in Eganville herself, we don't have a spot to have commercial growth realistically of a significant nature. Yes, you can, but that would actually be your direction that would benefit our township the most. And that's all I'm saying is I don't think there's anything to lose by striking committee.
But the MOU is in North Algona's hands. It's not in our hands anymore. We've sort of,
Well,
we've expanded as far as we can go, so we need to know if they want commercial expansion or they want those businesses that are in North Algona on our water and sewer. We signed the agreement.
But
It's there.
that's between 2 townships. What I'm recommending is a representative from our township, a representative from North Algona, and an actual private citizen to seeing what they believe would be the most common sense approach to actually providing and seeing what that would actually look like. No different than other municipalities have been able to do successfully And that's all I'm saying. If it's stuck between the two townships, well, then maybe we need to ask our residents to get involved and see if there's interest of that. And that's all I'm getting at.
It's just that I think that there was a misconception that our water and wastewater rates would go down if we extended into North Algona, and after doing a very comprehensive review, that is actually not the case. Which is why the MOU says what it says, not only about extending infrastructure, but capacity. And again, I don't believe they'd ever do wastewater. I mean, wastewater out that way up the hill would be onerous, I believe. There would have to be a pumping station, et cetera. I think that the real interest was with water. But again,
It's
infrastructure and capacity would be on their residents, or at least those that are, and businesses that are on the water and sewer.
one, but since I guess my approach on it would be because we haven't, well, nothing's moved forward in the last X amount of years. And that's where I'm saying is that what is the harm, I guess, with seeing if someone from North Algona is interested in having a committee formed and asking residents and putting something out there and see who actually is interested. Because if you can have a growth in, say, commercial property taxes, be it shared between the two municipalities, or asking the committee what the approach should be, we're looking at other municipalities, then there is multiple.
The commercial taxes wouldn't be in BV, they'd be in North Algona Wilberforce.
But that's where you can have that's where you're asking a committee to recommend what that would actually look like. And there's models in other townships as well.
Oh, I almost said the A word. Or we can just amalgamate. Just saying.
Anything
I
else?
think there are lots of good ideas here. We won't get them all done, but there must be something will come up.
Well, I think that there are a lot of operational things that our staff are already invested in.
Sure.
So. Okay.
Some-
So I think I'll start with my mayor's report. So since my last report, I attended 31 meetings and a few events, and I'm gonna sort of mess this up a bit. Hang on. So closing out 2024, our municipality remains committed to our mission of creating an affordable, efficient community where people choose to live, work, and thrive while embracing a rural lifestyle and fostering communication, personal growth, and commerce. In 2024, we took significant steps to advance this vision with measurable progress across key areas. So in community engagement, and these all speak to our strategic plan, we hosted the Uplift Youth Summit, aligning with AMO's Healthy Democracy, promoting civility and youth participation. We had public skating, junior firefighters, fundraisers, especially the beer and wine, with the EACDG and Rotary to raise funds for playground equipment, which we will be doing again this year. And of course, launching our career fair for 2025. In an infrastructure and asset management, we obviously participated in all applicable government grant programs, including the Housing Enabling Fund. I will say that nobody that didn't have mass transit received the Housing Enabling Fund. I did have a conversation with Minister Calandra, who is not Minister Calandra anymore, that this was extremely unfair and the province had to go back to the feds and find different parameters. We completed essential projects like Zeta Road, we did ditching and other infrastructure needs. We focused on sustainable development while maintaining fiscal responsibility. We completed the museum mural project celebrating our rural heritage and character, which of course it continues with the painted doors. We maintained a 4.95% tax increase despite economic challenges. And I think that we've given efficient service delivery. We've introduced the file hold document management software. We piloted a summer flex hour program to improve work-life balance for staff. We continued with our community improvement plan and launched our shop local campaigns to support businesses. We engaged provincial ministries, the Solicitor General for Fire Apparatus and Governance, Ministry of Transportation for snowplow, driver exemptions, and the Ministry of Energy for our small hydro program extension. We did our joint delegation with Renfrew and Mississippi Mills for our hydro program. And of course, with a lot of advocacy, the Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund is increasing $100 million over 2 years. We did partner with neighboring townships on shared services, including asset management and waste reduction programs, collaborated on initiatives like the Rural Transit Solutions Fund and the SWIM program and the Blue Box program, which continues to be a pain in you-know-what. We adjusted our website for wayside accessibility and developed plans for newcomer welcome package. Continued to engage residents through a well-received municipal newsletter. The kids love it. We introduced our new property standards and clean yard bylaws, supported the community with essential services like the paramedic base, and lobbied the province for additional funding for the OPP increases. And I will tell you, every time somebody said the $77 million fund for OPP, and I was given credit for it at Roma, I almost burst into tears. I was so proud of everybody that helped with lobbying so quickly. It just felt so good. So I think our mission and vision continue to guide every decision we make, ensuring we remain a great place. Looking ahead to 2025, budget workshop is not going to be good. By the time we get to budget workshop, we should have a firmer handle on what these tariffs will mean. I am going to do as I was asked. All 444 municipalities were asked to concentrate on buying local, buying Ontario, buying Canadian. And I think that that's a very important message for all of us and our residents. We do not know what March will come with, but I think that the tariffs should not be a threat. They should be something that makes us open our eyes and realize that shopping Canadian, shopping local is the best foot forward. So I'm hoping that we can do that as a municipality. But our budget is going to be very, very, very difficult this year. So community engagement. I want to establish a youth council involving both local schools, which is something that the kids asked for. And they wanted a dog show. They want increased use of the canteen facilities. And I've already spoken to Kevin about an adults versus kids hockey game. I want to see those, the old timers take on the kids. I think that would be really fun. And I will continue to engage schools by attending the grade 5 civics class and grade 10 at Opiongo to talk to them about local government. My advocacy priorities for 2025 are water and wastewater infrastructure improvements, fair treatment for fire training and apparatus requirements, addressing CVOR rules, securing annual increases. So actually doing a COLA increase to the partner, it should be indexed for the Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund, and enhancing the provincial gas tax allocation. I'm going to talk about both of those more later. Honoring veterans and enhancing community spaces. I do think that we need a new sign and a walkway dedicated to veterans, as we talked about the entrance to Legion Field. What I didn't realize, and I might have reported on this, when we first saw it, Petawawa's is amazing. That is actual road paint. It's got the glass in it and everything. It was very expensive, but it's also very long and very wide. So I do have the contact information for the people that did it, and I'd like to get an estimate on what it would cost just to do just between the sidewalks in front of Legion Field, but also the arch needs to be redone. And when we're talking about redoing the building, I think it would be lovely, as we talked about with the CCAN, to brand that building that it is we're honoring Legionnaires. And we've got Gerald Tracy Park. So we're going to need to budget a little bit of money to see what we can do to brand that space. And 2025 will be a year of collaboration, innovation, and perseverance as we navigate very serious fiscal challenges while continuing to build a stronger, more vibrant Buckinghamshire Valley. From fostering youth engagement to enhancing our public spaces and advocating for fair policies, we will remain dedicated to our mission of making our municipality an exceptional place to live, work, and thrive. Now I'm gonna go back. So County Council met on January 15th and 29th. Our new model seems to be working, but it does make for very long days. And before we started our meeting, I did say that I think that during our breaks, everybody should get up from there and walk around the county building. I've joked that, you know, a normal workday is 9 to 5, and these days are very long, and the homework is, it's exceptional, but it's been fun so far. Our advocacy efforts at the Roma conference have already started to pay off. We benefited from several funding announcements last week, including the Homeless and Addiction Recovery Treatment Hub, which is a heart hub, roundabout at the intersection of 2 county roads in the town of Petawawa, and additional funding to tackle homelessness. So very important funding announcements. Each committee had an opportunity to review their departmental budgets, highlighted by business plans from our directors, financial implications moderated by Treasurer Daniel Burke. Our county council budget is on Thursday. I will tell you, as of yesterday, after the world changed, it was a flurry of activity to talk about some of the enhancements that we have in the budget that just may not be possible. Of note for us, the following capital projects will be completed in Buckinghamshire Valley in 2025. County Road 64, which is Opeongo Road from Foymount Road to Wyland Shore. The length is 10.95 kilometers with a budget of 3.677 million. County Road 70, which is Ruby Road from Gorman Road to Wolf Road. The length is 3.2 kilometers with a budget of just over 1 million. County Road 512 from 515 to Macaulay Mountain Road. And we just got the email regarding the people that wanted to do the Ride for Cancer. Both of the roads are going to be under construction at the time they wanted to do this, so they're working on another solution. And County Road 512 from Silver Lake to Highway 41. The length is 7.65 kilometers with a budget of 2.8 million. So these projects represent an investment of almost $9.5 million in our township. The Roma Board of Directors met on November 15th virtually. We had policy updates for our priorities, including the Canada Housing Infrastructure Fund, a housing forum, and AMO policy update calling for provincial actions, federal encampments funding, and some help seeker homelessness data. We also spent a lot of time getting ready for the Roma conference, which at that time was evident that it was going to be a very large event, and I've got my conference report attached. Once again, Minister Calandra, this is where my report is stale dated. Minister Calandra gave us an hour of his time, and we were able to have a back and forth frank conversation about rural Ontario. One frustration is that he would not engage in a conversation about a social and economic prosperity review, which AMO and Roma have asked for. We also met on December 20th, 2024. Kevin Holland, MPP for Thunder Bay Atikokan, and the Associate Minister for Forestry and Forestry Products met with us as a follow-up to our trip to Thunder Bay. He's very interested in Roma's priorities and especially how they align with what's going on in the north. Judy Diesel from LAS, her name is spelled wrong, gave us an update on one investment in small municipalities. Very interesting presentation. I'd be pleased to share the slide deck, but this was actually for county that one investment can help for investing prudently for the future. And the remainder of our December meeting was preparing for the Roma conference. Obviously, we knew the Roma conference and the US inauguration, they were going to collide, and they did. With EORN, the Selgap project continues to make remarkable strides. We've achieved some key milestones, completed construction of 100 new towers, that are now in service, as well as the completion of construction on 60 co-locations. Final tower upgrade to the 311 existing Rogers Towers was completed in December of 2024. We are fairly certain that our goal of the project being completed by 2026 is on track. For those of you wondering, there are towers going up right now so that we don't interfere with natural habitats such as turtle mating, that kind of thing. The towers are going up now. They will all be turned on sort of in sequence. They do speak to each other. So I know that there's been a lot of confusion about the tower went up, but my cell service isn't good. That is why they're not turned on yet, despite the lights strubbing at the top. And as we wind down the Solgap project, we are committed to municipalities across Eastern Ontario. We are in a partnership with Rural Impact Canada, and we are working on some complex challenges with regards to affordable housing and agriculture. We're just working on our third and final application for phase 3 funding. We were very, very, very successful in the CMHC Housing Supply Challenge. So we will be diverting some of those, bless you, some of those monies. And again, we have upgraded our letter of patent, which now allows us to provide project management service, infrastructure project support, technology service support, and municipal support. So it's going to open up a breadth of projects for EORN. So redefining the word network, changing it from just technology to other facets. Our CDHU guys, I don't know what I can add to Dr. Morgenstern's report. It's just amazing. We did have to leave that meeting because of all the funding announcements. Some of us were in 2 Zoom meetings at once. It was pretty funny. Under other items, LAS has asked me to sit on a panel to investigate water and wastewater solutions for rural Ontario. The terms of reference and the resolution are in our council package. In order for me to sit on this panel, I do need a resolution of council. I think it's very, very, very important that we're included, whether it be for succession planning or what LAS has in store, that we might be able to. They've been so successful in other municipal ventures that I absolutely did not want to say no. So I'm kind of excited about that. Under events, on January 9th and 10th, it was my honor to bring greetings to the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus in Kingston as the chair of EORN. We have a new caucus chair, Bonnie Clark, and vice chair, Steve Ferguson. Due to illness, I was unable to attend a euchre tournament on January 25th, which was dedicated to Guy Jamieson in support of music in the park. I've been advised this event was a huge success, but Annette and I came home from Roma with basically the plague, and we're both still kind of congested here. So on January 27th and 28th, I attended the funding announcements for the county, which are described above. On February 2nd, I attended the 49th annual snowmobile races and brought greetings and thanks on behalf of our community. And that concludes my report, if anybody has any questions.
No. The LAS makes sense. I guess my only comment on that, would it make sense, since we're looking so you're gonna sit on the wastewater for LAS, would it make sense as well, just for the succession planning as well, for the water and sewers, just to see what the private end would actually cost the municipality?
That's what we're
for the
doing.
administration side.
That's what we're doing. It's going to be an MSC if we do anything, and it'll be voluntary.
But that's through LAS, but for example, Aqua maintains Killaloo. So then it'd be no different than that.
Yes, it would be different. It would be an MSC that
Mhm.
would manage water and wastewater through its own service corporation. But it's in its baby stages.
But have we ever got an actual number? Because we always talk for succession planning, everything.
No, it's brand new.
No,
The
but
MSC has
have we ever got a number from the
for
company like
Aqua or
Aqua to
deal-
see what the current rate would be if they we kept our boots on the ground, obviously, but eventually we always have to think about succession planning as well, just what it would look like is all I'm getting at.
I have no comment.
Mhm.
Yes, John?
So with the LAS participation by yourself, in 5 years, what would be your fondest wish? What would come of this?
Oh, that's a loaded question. I would say if an MSC could be formed, and I had some concerns about if we form this service corporation, our existing staff, who would they be working for? What would the cost spread out look like across those in the 444 that wanted to become part of the service corporation? I'm sure there are some that absolutely don't, those that use Aqua, I suppose. Although I think that this might be a different solution, maybe not a better solution, but a different solution. You know, LAS is amazing with mass borrowing. Things like the painting of the facility, the inside of that maze. Would there be economies of scale? I think that I'm going into this eyes wide open, with no preconceived notions yet. Because again, it is in its baby stages. This is something that LAS was approached about, and they never, ever, ever walk away from a good argument. You give them a project and they take it on like gangbusters. So I'll let you know after our first meeting. But I think what Judy was asking for, Judy from LAS, is that she wants some firepower about how we feel about our water and wastewater, and the fact that the rates just aren't sustainable in any municipality. So what can we do to have, mass borrowing power, as one corporation? But I had some concerns in our initial conversation. The autonomy, at this time, our director reports to Annette, he has his staff. And I think that I'd like to see what it would look like going forward. Yeah. Not commit myself to it yet.
No, but thank you for going. I can support you in that.
Yeah, because I need another meeting. I didn't think the terms of reference looked that onerous. That's why I agreed to it. All right, my Roma conference report. We were so proud of this conference. Last count, we had 1,946 delegates, and the trade show floor was sold out. I'll have actual stats after our next meeting, but I keep joking we're taking on AMO for the amount of delegates, and Annette can attest to the incredible amount of people that descended on the Sheraton Center in Toronto for these 4 days. It was wild. On Saturday, January 18th, the Roma board met for two purposes. The first of which was to have a meeting with our media consultants, Red Brick, to ensure that we were ready for inquiries by the press. With the looming inauguration, the resignation of the Prime Minister, and the question of the provincial election, it was important that all of us were prepared. And I will tell you, I've never been so thankful for media training in my life, because it was constant. Like, you could not leave a room, you couldn't walk down a hall. As soon as the press saw our Roma board badges, they wanted answers, and answers that we couldn't give. I don't know why the Prime Minister resigned. I don't live in his house. At that time, did we assume that there was going to be a provincial election? Yes, we did. But again, I'm not the premier. I don't have the inside workings. Did we have speculation of different things? We absolutely did. Could I speak to them? No. But it was quite something. So the media training was very well, a great 2 hours of my life. On Saturday, we also met to finalize all the details of the conference, understand our roles for the next few days. We reviewed our schedule for the zone meetups and our concurrent session and learning lunches. We also reviewed the policy highlights, including Roma and AMO uniting on a pre-budget and pre-election priority and advocacy plan, seeking practical solutions for homelessness, provincial support for housing enabling infrastructure, advocacy for rural access to primary health care, continued work on broadband connectivity, and support in energy procurements. And I realized as I read all that, boy, did yesterday ever change most of it. Anyway, on Sunday, January 19th, it was my pleasure to host the Zone 6 meetup. The meetups are so important to have meaningful dialogue with delegates. One note of interest was a question asked about the federal government playing their part in our infrastructure deficit. This is something we must keep at the forefront when a new government is elected. I also had questions regarding broadband infrastructure, integrity commissioner complaints, and water and wastewater, just to name a few. I will tell you, the Zone 6 meetup had the highest attendance. I think that's because basically all of Renfrew County was there. Great support from all of my colleagues and staff. It was amazing. And believe it or not, they didn't even heckle me. I will tell you a funny story. I had a map up and I said, so this is Zone 6 in the pink. If you don't live in the pink, you're in the wrong room. And sure enough, I was getting questions about integrity commissioner complaints. But as soon as they said they were from Rideau Lakes, I was like, they're in Zone 7. But then I didn't know what to do. I didn't kick them out. I didn't know what to do. There were 3 of them. But I'm like, I told you, if you're not in the pink, you're in the wrong room. Anyway, on Sunday, it was also my honor to open up a concurrent session in response to mental health and addictions, which included our own Mike Nolan, Director of Emergency Services and Chief Paramedic, to speak to unique considerations around mental health and addictions in rural communities and successful response with our MESA program, which is, I mean, if you read Dr. Morgenstern's report, he attributes so much of that to MESA, since a lot of our opioid homelessness challenges have gone to Pembroke. So that's where the focus has been. Unfortunately, I had another meeting that I had to get to, so the warden took over chairing the remainder of this session. All I heard were amazing things about it. On Sunday, during that session, the Roma board had a multi-ministerial meeting with Minister Paul Palandra, Minister Sylvia Jones, and Minister Lisa Thompson. I don't know why I wrote that. Each of our leads did an exemplary job of presenting the issues. And then what we did was we included another board member who would share a story from their municipality. So I led the infrastructure conversation and was able to include our statistics from Bonnechere Valley. And then I had another board member that spoke to their eroding bridges, and they have something ridiculous, like 92 bridges in their municipality. But for those of you that don't know, the knock at the door, you have 5 minutes to the end of your delegation. Minister Clanders said, don't worry about it, keep talking. So I did. One of the things that we talked about in our media training was give them a bit of shock and awe. So when I knew that I was the last speaker and we had no time left, I decided that I was going to wake the ministers up. So I said, I'm going to shock you all. We have an infrastructure deficit. And they all laughed. So that got everybody back on the same page. So that was very exciting. And I did tell our trainer what I did. And he said, look at that, Jennifer, you actually listen. One of the things that I noted, and I'm not sure, John, perhaps you knew about this, on the news on the Tuesday before we left for Roma, there was this news article about a provincial initiative called Practice Ready Ontario that was announced apparently in 2023. And it was to bring 50 immigrant doctors and accelerate their licensing program in 2024. So in 2024, we actually got 28 of those doctors. So I asked the Roma board, does anybody know about this? And one Roma board member did. And she is as far north as you can go. So weirdly, in Renfrew County, we got 4 of these docs, but nobody seemed to know about it. And Minister Jones said, yes, we definitely have to do a better job, because what an amazing program to bring these doctors, accelerate their licensing and get them into primary care. Anyway, so their target for this year is 100 docs. So what they were asking for was practice ready. So, and I hate to throw Dr. Petrini in it, but if he retired, that would be the optimal, right? He's got an office, electronic records. He's got administration. Our nurse practitioner from ConnectWell is in that office. So, I mean, when they ask, and we need, I'm putting up my hand. I just thought this was an amazing initiative on behalf of the province. But Minister Jones was definitely shocked that we weren't aware. Did you know about this, John?
I've met two of the individuals who are being trained through the family practice teaching unit.
But did you know they came through this?
I didn't know that name of that program. No, I'm glad to hear it.
It's amazing, right?
So, but I don't think that's our fault as much as she hasn't done her promotion.
That's exactly, she said, I guess I should have advertised this. I'm like, yes, I was shocked. I'd never heard tell of this. Anyway, on Monday, January 20th, I attended the plenary program, which included remarks from our Roma Chair, Krista Lowry, Premier Ford, and Minister Rob Flack, who is the Minister of Agriculture, Food and Agribusiness. On Monday, January 20th, Annette and I met with Parliamentary Assistant Z Hamid, Ministry of Finance, to discuss other revenue tools. These proposed funding sources include, I'm always going to harp on this, the 1% local share in the HST, the potential upload of school boards, and also the removal of the 1.76 HST that we do not retain. So HST is 13%. We get all but 1.76% back. Why 1.76%, you ask? Nobody seems to know. Even P.A. Hamid was a bit, he didn't really know why that specific number, not 1.75%, not 2%, 1.76%. In any case, he said that that was a very interesting idea. He was going to debrief with Minister Bethlen Falvey after the delegation. Minister Bethlen Falvey isn't the minister right now, so I don't know if they even got a discussion in. What this would mean is forward facing to our ratepayers. They would never see this. It would never affect them, but it could be 1.5% on our levy, especially with large infrastructure projects. So if we're retaining 1.76 on $100,000, I mean, there's economy of scale there. So anyway, he was very interested. I think maybe I've kicked the can enough on the 1% of the local share. I think maybe now I just focus my attention on the 1.76. Thoughts?
Yeah.
I mean, I know AMO wants us to keep harping, but I think the 1.76 HST makes more sense because you're not going to feel it in your daily lives when you buy something and that HST has gone up a percentage, but it stays in the community. This is something that nobody even knows about. It would be found money. I liked it. Anyway, on Monday, January 20th, I already did Rick Brise and I talked to you guys about the CVOR. On Monday, January, there we go. I attended the plenary session, which included speakers, NDP leader and official opposition leader, Marit Stiles, President of AMO, Robin Jones, and Minister Paul Calandra. On Monday, January 20th, I attended the Ministers Forum, where we once again urged the province to complete a social and economic prosperity review. On Tuesday, January 21st, I attended the plenary session, which included remarks from the leader of the Liberal Party, Bonnie Crombie, and the Liberal of the Green Party, Mike Schreiner. Wow, is he ever a good speaker? Holy cow, that man is he really knew his audience. During the conference, I also had the opportunity to speak to, and I'm assuming got gravely ill, Minister of Finance, Peter Bethlen Falvey, Minister of Forestry, Graydon Smith, Attorney General Doug Downey, MPP Laurie Scott, Minister of Rural Affairs, Lisa Thompson, Minister of Health, Sylvia Jones, Minister of Infrastructure, Kinga Surma, and Minister of Women's Affairs, Charmaine Williams, who I am so proud to tell you will be meeting. Charmaine will be meeting with our Community Services Department because she happened to be at the same restaurant as us during supper on Tuesday night, and I asked her to come and greet our Renfrew County crew, which she did, and she met up with Andrea Patrick, our Director of Community Services, and Ann Giardini, the Chair of the Committee. So very exciting and very serendipitous. Of course, once again, I don't know where these people are going, or if they'll be reelected or ministers. So yes. The only thing I saw you shaking your head, John, about Mike Schreiner being an excellent speaker. I will say, though, that if he's elected and he's going to allow every municipality, as of right, 4-story buildings, I hope he's ready to buy us all ladder trucks for our fire departments. So just, a thought, but again, obviously Premier Ford was riding a high and really knows the people. Merritt Stiles and Bonnie Crombie, they came with their messaging from their parties. So very interesting when they all knew that an election was coming. It's just, was it going to be that Wednesday? Was it going to be the following Wednesday? I kept joking with them that they should call it on Monday at noon during the inauguration. Apparently you have to call a provincial election on a Wednesday. This started in 2005. Why? I don't know.
I learned that too.
Again, seems very arbitrary to me, but if that's what you gotta do, that's what you gotta do. So interesting times ahead. That's all I had for Roma. It was crazy busy. But an excellent conference. Go ahead, Jen.
Can you just repeat the name of the program under which the 28 new physicians were introduced?
Practice Ready Ontario. So weird though, right?
I can send you the link if you want, John.
Thank you, I like that.
Yeah, the chair, so when I saw it, the first thing I did was I texted the chair of Roma, Crystal Lowry. I'm like, have you heard of this? And I took a screenshot of CP24. She's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So we both went splunking through the Ontario News, like their feeds, right? And she's like, I have no idea what this is. I'm like, neither do I.
That could be an opportunity.
But it was kind of embarrassing. Like, we're actually on the Roma board. We should probably know. Then I felt really good that of the 15 people on the Roma board, only one person knew about it. And she lit, again, as far north as you can get. So they took full advantage of this being a northern community.
So they recruited 28, their goal was 50, and then this year they're trying to recruit 100.
Their goal was 50 over 2024, and their goal for this year is 100. And it was pretty funny because Minister Jones said, well, and we got 25, and I went, whoa, you got 28. She's like, oh. And I said, it would have been great if Yak got a couple. She goes, I think he did. And her staff were behind, like it was like a cage match. You should have seen the staff behind them. And one of her staff went, yeah, 4. And I'm like, how did we not know? Like, what a success. And people were like, well, they only got 28 of 50. Actually, for the first year, I consider that a win, a huge win.
Well, it's like nothing. It's no different than new development. It's like you have 28 new. It's not existing 28 physicians. It's brand new 28 new.
Exactly.
That's the biggest thing. So you say your parameter is 100, then if they get 66, it's better than nothing.
Exactly.
What's the I guess the research transitioning? So like how because I know when an international doctor comes over certification process, what is it actually reducing the timeline, or is it is it training? What's the difference, I guess, for the reduction?
Number one, it depends on the doc.
Yeah.
Depends on what they did in their home
It's like a
country.
GP and
Right?
yeah.
But they were moving them through like in 3 to 4 months. So it was successful. I don't care what anybody says, and I think we should be taking full advantage. I get the rub though. You have to be, they called it Practice Ready Ontario for a reason, right? We don't want to set these docs up to fail. Sure, come to Eganville. You can use this section of a building, but there's nothing in it, right? Obviously, if we're going to bring them and accelerate their training, set them up to succeed in an existing doc's office or in a family health team or whatever you call them now.
Look at your local doctor and the numbers he has compared to like new clinics, like way more.
You think?
So that's the thing. So you
Like 2.5 times more.
exactly.
The man is a godsend.
Mhm.
And we will be so sad when he retires. I just saw him and he said that Janet's just gonna stand him up in the corner. And he can just stand there because people come in. Anyway, look, we're so lucky to have him. He cannot take on any more patients. I just think that I was so excited to find out about this. And of course, when I got to the conference, I didn't know that Renfrew County got 4. But listen, I think whatever we can do to encourage, we should be doing. This is all the fun of advocating for these programs,
Yeah, it's
right?
a common sense solution, so,
Right?
yeah.
So, I did say during the multi-ministerial, I said to Minister Jones, I'm like, could you do this in all faculties, like with skilled trades and like bringing like mechanics from other provinces into Ontario? She goes, Jennifer, one thing at a time. It's not my ministry. But anything they can do, right? To lessen the red tape, to lessen the barriers that prevent people from moving to our province and working here. But it's all Red Seal. It's across the board. So, like, I think if you can fix a Mercedes in Calgary, you can probably fix one in Renfrew. I'm just saying. Anyway, any other questions?
Let's invite those new doctors to dinner at
Right?
bring them out to the Sands or Rio and have an evening where they talk to, we can get some physicians to come and talk to them. That's what recruiting is all about.
I agree.
It's about meeting the spouses, if there are them, and finding out how they can fit into your community.
I remember how important that was when Debbie Robinson was doing it, and like as the warden, I would attend, and meeting the spouses was almost as important or more important than meeting the doc.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
Show them a school, show them the splash pad, show them here all your amenities everywhere.
We did.
From there.
That's exactly what we did. We had like lists of, and if you move here, you can, like, we have a library and we have a community center and yeah. Okay, 8.3 is LAS water and wastewater, which you're all okay with?
Mhm.
Great. Our next meeting date is February 18th, day after Family Day. We have no close and I'll ask for an adjournment, please. I think John was the only one that didn't move by John. All in favor? We are adjourned. Oh, I'm sorry, Debbie.
I'm good, thanks, Jennifer.
There was a lot of information.
Yeah, there was, can you email me
What would you like?
your report?
Both of them?
Yeah.
Okay,
Please,
then.
thank you.
You're welcome. There were a lot of funny things that went on at that conference. Debbie, what